Mali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Big tech sued for using children to mine cobalt in the DRC. We look at the Bollywood reaction to the protests in India as a big star loses his TV contract. In Sierra Leone, we hear about the change to a ban on pregnant girls being allowed to go to school. And a cat with bionic legs. You can't get more animals doing stuff than that. And top of our newsfeed, cobalt. The precious metal is in all our devices and it's mined in only a few places on Earth. Now, the extraction of cobalt is fueling the digital world that we all take for granted, but there is a very real human cost. So in the first case of its kind, some major tech companies are being taken to court for the damage they cause getting cobalt into our phones. Let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Well, it's 30 years of America's favorite family, The Simpsons. And while the show is not a patch on what it once was, it's still worth celebrating the milestone. It's also an opportunity to point out the numerous times The Simpsons predicted the bizarro world in which we now live in. Like the one time where they said that one of Siegfried and Roy would be mauled by a tiger, and then the real thing happened. And they predicted Disney buying at 20th Century Fox, which also happened, and that they predicted that Donald John Trump would one day be president. Well, this video of a mum in Japan who uses a cardboard cutout of herself to stop her kid crying is very popular. Her name is Fuki Sato, and her antics have attracted lots of shares and likes on social. Now, lots of little boys don't like it when their ma leaves the room. I was the same according to my family. If only my mum had had a cutout, eh? Well, this was posted to Twitter by the dad's account @Sato_Nezi. And a former NASA engineer made the world laugh last year by exposing people who steal packages from porches in the United States. Well, Mark Rober has upgraded his device and posted a new video called Porch Pirate vs. Glitterbomb Trap 2.0. It's already had 17 million views and has a cameo from Kevin McAllister. Protests in India continue over what's described as an anti-Muslim bill being pushed by the government of Narendra Modi. It's caused a huge rift in the country, and that rift has now reached Bollywood.
He is famous for his portrayal of India's freedom fighter, Sukhdev Thapar, who along with Bhagat Singh was hanged by the British. Now actor Sushant Singh's contract has been cancelled. Recently, he took part in protests against India's Citizenship Amendment Act. It is not clear if his presence at the demonstrations caused him to lose his job, but some on social media are making that connection. Singh himself has told newspapers he does not want to sell out. Some Bollywood stars have been criticized for remaining silent during the police crackdown on students in India. Many top actors are close to top politicians and have been used in campaigning. Some supported India's military strikes on Pakistan earlier this year. The close links between Bollywood stars and the government have been exposed by a non-profit news site, Cobra Post. In a series of sting operations, some celebrities were shown to be taking cash from politicians to give their political support. One of India's biggest movie stars, Shah Rukh Khan, studied at Jamia Millia Islamia University, where police are accused of targeting students protesting against the new citizenship law. But he has remained silent, despite calls by colleagues to condemn the violence. Another actor, Akshay Kumar, has been criticized for liking a tweet that mocks the protesting students. He later issued an apology. While many celebrities have spoken out against the police action, they do not fully support the students. Instead, they want a period of reflection and an end to the violence.
Well, the government of Sierra Leone reversed a decision to ban pregnant girls from going to school. And while that is welcome news for women's rights activists and everyone, it comes with some reservations. It's argued that the root causes, manipulation of young women, and a lack of knowledge about reproductive health have not really been addressed. And we spoke to Vickei Remoe, an entrepreneur and writer who's used her voice to raise awareness about the issues faced by women in Sierra Leone. We asked for her thoughts.
I'm really conflicted because we all know in Sierra Leone what school conditions are, especially further away from the big towns and the big cities. Schools are very far away. Children have to walk miles to school. It is about 90 degrees throughout the year, except when it's the rainy season. So if it's not hot, it's raining, right? And when children go to school, they're not going to school in the best classrooms. Lots of classrooms don't have adequate seats. Schools don't have running water. Toilet facilities aren't always there and adequate. We don't have nurses and clinics on our school campuses. So you're sending girls who are teenagers while pregnant to school in rural communities primarily and urban cities where the administrations in those schools, the teachers, are first of all going to be hard on them and harsh on them and blame them for their pregnancy. That's one. Two, you're sending them back to environments where nobody's going to be there to monitor them. There's no system in place currently to make sure they take their prenatals. So we don't really have access to contraceptives in school. Sex education isn't taught in every school. We are very conservative in terms of sex and sexuality and reproductive health in general, reproductive health education. So you find a lot of young girls aren't really empowered about their bodies. They don't know what's happening to their bodies. They don't also have the voice, right, to speak out or to say no to, sexual predators in our communities. Last year, the First Lady of Sierra Leone launched the Hands Off Our Girls campaign after just a national outcry from activists and just citizens like myself and others and many, many others just speaking out against the high state of sexual violence against girls. So the president declared a national emergency on rape and sexual violence in, I believe it was January this year, and put together a task force to look into that.
Okay, let's keep on spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Wednesday. Well, two people who were caught up in a shooting in Toronto, Canada, have filed a lawsuit against the gun manufacturer Smith & Wesson. Now, 2 people were killed and 13 injured when a man opened fire in July of 2018. One of the people who has filed the lawsuit was shot in the leg. Now, they allege that Smith & Wesson created an ultra-hazardous product and has delayed rolling out technology which prevents unauthorized people from firing a gun. This is a kind of fingerprint tech, similar to what we use to open our phones. Now, the technology has existed for years, but gun lobby groups like the National Rifle Association have fought against its use. The lawsuit also references a promise from Smith & Wesson to bring in smart gun tech, a promise that the company has failed to keep. Well, this is the cover of a manga comic called What Has Happened to Me, a testimony of a Uyghur woman. It was written by an artist called Tomomi Shimizu and has been a viral hit. It's had more than 250,000 views on her website and 2.6 million likes. More than 1 million Uyghurs have been held in what China calls re-education centers. People held there are reportedly forced to renounce Islam. And these are fake horoscopes produced by the Home Affairs Department in Australia. They're meant to deter people from Sri Lanka attempting to get into Australia illegally. They imagine a bunch of scenarios, including death, and are designed to tap into Sri Lankans' fascination with astrology. And this is said to be the face of a woman who lived 6,000 years ago in Scandinavia. Her genetic code was sequenced by scientists using DNA left in a bit of a birch pitch, which Stone Age people used to glue stone tools. They may have also chewed it as pulp, as in this case. Researchers said she probably had dark skin, brown hair, and blue eyes. Well, now we can take a look at boats built by generations of the same family at a shipyard on the Black Sea in Turkey.
Since the 18th century, this small town has been constructing wooden boats, and this trade has been passed on from father to son for at least 3 generations, which means if I was a boat builder, my father and my father's father and his father before him were master ship makers. Now, it's a boat time, we build a boat. The first step of the process is to get these logs cut down into boards. They usually use chestnut wood due to its durability. But first, they need to let it dry for at least 5 to 6 months. I don't have that time, so that's better. This is where they sand down the edges of the frame so they can fit perfectly together. This huge whiteboard is used to sketch and measure the pieces of wood that are going to be used to build the frame of the ship. Look, that's a massive frame right here. Look at this huge frame. The frame pieces are made gluing 12 pieces of wood together. As you can see, there's 12 pieces of wood. After they cut the pieces of wood for the frame, they bring it to this big metal track where they clamp it down and keep it stable so they could bring 11 more pieces, 11 layers, and they glue 11 layers to make each piece of the frame. I'm here with Dursun Gür, and he's the head honcho at this shipyard. He's a 4th generation master shipbuilder. Let's find out what it's like keeping this rich tradition and craftsmanship alive.
Bu meslek bu bölgede yüzyıllardır yapılıyor. Osmanlı zamanından işte çektirmeler, buraya özgü bir çektirme modeli var. Çektirmeler, mavnalar, yük tekneleri, hatta Osmanlı donanmasına tekneler yüzyıllar önce bu bölgeden yapılmış. Büyük dedem de bu işi yapıyordu, çektirme ustasıydı. Evimizin bahçesindeydi ilk atölyemiz. Büyük tekneler 15 ay, 18 ay sürüyor. Şimdi bir Amerikalı bir müşterimiz var. Ona 30 metre yelkenli yapıyoruz. Ona başladık. Kabuğunu burada yapacağız. İçini İstanbul'da donatacağız. 18 ay sürecek inşaat. Müşterimiz bunu Türkiye'ye gelip giderken Akdeniz'de kullanacak. Maliyet olarak birkaç milyon dolar olur yani. Bu bizim aile geleneğimiz, aile mesleğimiz. Tabii torunlarımızın da bu mesleği sürdürmesini bekliyoruz.
And last up, we have an animals doing stuff. And this one is about a cat who's had the Lee Majors treatment. He was the $6 million man about 30 years ago. And this feline is Vito. His hind legs were amputated after a car accident. I don't think he was driving. And vets who developed 2 bionic legs for the fella so he could keep doing that cat thing for a little while longer. Now, understandably, he's been a big hit on social media, and you can follow his progress on his 2 real legs, 2 metal legs, at Insta Vitosozo Superstar. And that'll do from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel and follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again soon.